Hello, dear learner. My name is Dr. Mohammad Nazim, Department of Library and Information Science, Aligarh Muslim University. We are discussing about the indexing system, and in the previous class, we have discussed about different kinds of indexes and different kinds of indexing system. We have discussed about two important indexing system, derived indexing system and assigned indexing system. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss in detail about the derived indexing system. So the learning objective of this lecture are important, and by the end of this lecture, learner will be able to define derived indexing and the title-based indexing. They will be able to explain how index terms are derived from the documents and titles. They will be identify different types of derived indexing. For example, keyword in context, keyword out of context, and they will be analyze the role of titles in the representation of document content, and in the end they will be able to evaluate the advantages, limitation of the derived and title-based indexing systems. So with this, now we will try to introduce the topic derived indexing. And we have seen when we were discussing about the information retrieval system and their component, one of the important component of the information retrieval system is the analysis of the thought content of the document and the representation of the subjects of the document, as well as the analysis of the query of the user and the representation of the query in the appropriate words so that a matching between the documents and the user query is possible. And as a result, the relevant results can be obtained. So in this way, we can say indexing system are the fundamental aspects of any kinds of information retrieval system. And the information and the indexing system may be derived and assigned. So during the process of indexing, we need to do the conceptual analysis, that is the subject analysis and the subject representation. The subject analysis can be done manually or by the computer. If we try to do the conceptual analysis and subject analysis manually by reading the whole document or part of the document, like title, content page, preface, and introduction, and the same process if it is being done by computer, so computer-based indexing can extract significant word or significant terms from the document title, a content page, a preface, or sometimes from the introduction, or sometimes from the complete text of the document. So the outcome of the subject analysis can be represented using control vocabulary tools like list of subject heading and the thesaurus, and using the term in the same language as it is included in the document. So when the subject analysis is represented using vocabulary control tool, it is called assigned indexing system. When the subject analysis is represented using the terms in the natural language as presented in the document itself, it is called derived indexing. So derived indexing is the process of extracting relevant keyword from the document or different parts of the document like title, introduction, preface, and content page. So there may be different methods of subject analysis and representation. We can see that subject indexing involves subject analysis, that is the conceptual analysis of the thought content of the document, and these processes can be done manually or by computer, and the representation can be done using assigned indexing system or using derived indexing system. When the terms are represented using controlled vocabulary tools or using any kind of indexing system, pre-coordinate or post-coordinate, it is called assigned indexing system. If the subject terms are represented in natural language using the term presented in the document, it is called derived indexing system. So derived indexing is also known as extractive indexing, which involve creating an index by directly collecting the relevant terms from the contents of the document. And the indexer does not use external controlled vocabulary system. Instead, the natural terms which are used by the author, which are put by the author in the documents, are used as the indexing term. And the index is derived from the document's own language. And the goal is to capture the essence of the content as it is written by the author. So in nutshell, derived indexing is simple and fast. Why it is simple and fast? Because it can be done by the use of computer. And two important aspects, that is the selection of keyword and the representation of keyword. So as far as the selection of keyword is concerned, the computer can easily extract the relevant keywords from the text of the document. And as far as the representation is concerned, the natural language can be used, that is the term as such which is extracted from the document can be used as the index entry term from the document. So the reason is that it is simple, it is fast, but lack the control and consistency compared to the assigned indexing system. So there are certain characteristics of the derived indexing. The manual or automatic, it can be a manual system or automated system. The selection of term can be done through computer, that is automatic, using computer algorithm, and it can be done by the human with the involvement of the human. It is manual. Another important feature is that is direct extraction of the terms. It uses the actual terms that are found in the document. No use of controlled vocabulary, because we need not to standardize the term using a certain vocabulary control tool, but the terms which are extracted directly from the documents can be used as the index term. Less subjectivity, because the index terms are directly linked to documents content. Common in search engine and databases. Most of the databases and the search engines are relied on derived indexing systems, because they automatically extract the relevant keywords from the documents, from the web pages, and then these keywords are entered into the inverted file of the search engine or the database for the purpose of retrieval by the users from information from the search engines and from the online databases. It is very fast and easy to implement because no human involvement is there, no expertise is required for that. The whole process can be automated, and that is why it is fast and it is very much cost effective. The economical, because it reduces the need for extensive human intellectual activity and labor, and that is why the cost can be reduced very much. There may be different types of derived indexing system. The one is title based indexing, other is citation indexing, and sometimes it is full text indexing. As far as the title based indexing is concerned, the terms are extracted from the title of the document, and there are two important title based indexing system. One is keyword in context and other is keyword out of context. In case of keyword in context, a list of keyword surrounded by their immediate context in the title. So a main word is highlighted, maybe put it in middle, and the rest of the words may be put it both the sides that highlight the context of that keyword. Keyword out of context, keywords are extracted from the title and listed with the full title printed underneath as subheading. So context is not provided in these kinds of indexes, particularly keyword out of context. Another system of derived indexing includes the citation indexing, which uses the bibliography, that is the list of references of a document, to create an index. And it links a source document to the works it cites. And one of the important example of this kinds of indexing is the science citation index and even humanity citation index. These are the early efforts by the Institute of Scientific Information. And today these different kinds of indexes, citation indexes, science citation index, humanity citation index, social science citation index, are merged together to create a larger database which is known as Web of Science. And now many more databases, for example, conference proceeding citation index, book citation index, they are also included in this particular database. Full text indexing actually indexes the significant word within the full content of the document. If you are extracting or selecting the keywords from the whole text of the document, the complete document, from the complete document, then it is called full text indexing system. So now come to the title-based indexing, the concept of title-based indexing. Title-based indexing is a method of indexing in which index terms are derived from the title of the document. It assumes that the title reflects the subject content of the document. But sometimes it may create problem because in some cases the title may be informative, which can clearly indicate the subject of the document. But in some cases, there may be the chances that the title may not be informative, may not be indicative, and title may be vague. Or sometimes author use the attractive title of the document, which clearly not indicate the subject of the document. So author often try to summarize the subject in the title, and therefore titles can serve as the primary source for identifying the keywords for the purpose of indexing. And this method is widely used in keyword indexing and automatic indexing systems. So there may be, as I mentioned, the nature of the titles may be different. Titles are intended to describe the subject and to attract the attentions of the users or the readers. However, not all titles are equally informative. So we can take some certain examples of informative titles, some examples of ambiguous or vague titles, or some examples of misleading or attractive titles. So just try to see the example impact of social media on youth. So this come under the category of informative titles because on the basis of reading this title, you will be able to find some keywords, that is social media and youth, that truly represent the title and the subject of the document. But if you just try to see the another title, that is breaking the silence, then you can take breaking and silence, that these two keywords for the purpose of indexing. Ultimately, these two words are not able to represent the subject of the document. So ultimately, if you are taking these words as an indexing word or indexing term for the purpose of indexing, it will be a poor indexing, and there is no clarity of the subject which is defined by these two keywords. So that may be the problem. These are the limitations of the title-based indexing, where sometimes title may not be informative, exactly not representing the subject which is covered in the document. So you can see more example of informative titles, vague titles, or misleading or attractive titles. To clearly indicate the subject of the document, it is called informative titles. We have the example, that is development of National Library and Information Service, early Victorian New Zealand. These two titles basically are indicative, that define the subject clearly, and these are useful for the purpose of indexing. But just try to see ambiguous or vague titles. They do not clearly define the subject. For example, material and structure. So not clearly indicating what kinds of material is used for which kinds of structure. Another is design of steel structure. So unclear buildings, bridge. We are not able to identify the meaning of this particular title. So this creates confusion in the process of indexing. There is another category of titles which come under the purview of misleading or attractive title. So, for example, Strips in Time. This is a autobiography, but the title Strip in Time is not clear, not indicating whether this is an autobiography. Similarly, Waterfalls and Tall Buildings, actually a review work, but we are not able to find, we are not able to examine the subject by using the words which are used in this title. So these kinds of title can lead to irrelevant retrieval results. If we just try to consider these words as a keyword and indexing word and include it in the indexing file, then the retrieval will be not strong, and you will not find relevant documents if you are using these kinds of terms. So what are the limitations of the title-based indexing? Titles may be too general, be ambiguous, misleading, and same title may be used for different subjects. For example, Malice in Wonderland, used for different works, causes confusion. Effect on information retrieval. Searching based on only on title may result in low recall, miss relevant documents, may result in false drop, retrieve irrelevant document. But the precision may be high. Precision may be high because if you are searching a document with the keywords that you are using in the search query, then only those documents will be retrieved which are matching with your query. So these kinds of documents, even they are useful to you, but not retrieved. So it means the recall will be low and precision will be high if we are using title-based indexing systems. So use of keyword in titles. Titles often contain significant words that are called keywords. And these keywords can be used for indexing. For example, Manual of Library Classification on the March, Introduction to Library Classification, A Modern Outline of Library Classification. So this is fortunate situation that we have listed 5 titles, and these 5 titles indicating a common subject and common keyword, that is library classification. So if all titles are basically indicating the main subject in the title, then it is easy to do the indexing using the same word, and we will be able to find the relevant document from the collection and from the information retrieval system. So what is the importance of derived indexing or title-based indexing in the modern information retrieval system? They are widely used in different search engines, in different digital repositories or digital libraries, and in digital databases. If we can take an example of the search engine, then we will find that search engines like Google uses spiders, and these spiders just try to track the new information which is published on different web pages, and they can track the new term which appeared in the new web page and try to collect or the keyword from there, and it is included into the inverted file, and ultimately after few days after the publication of new information on the web page, you will be able to search in Google. When we talk about the digital library, then at the time of uploading a document to any of the digital repository or digital library, ultimately one of the phase in the process of uploading a document into the digital repository or digital library, we need to do the work of metadata. We need to define the document, and during metadata we try to define the topic subject which is covered by the document which we are uploading to the digital library. The system is not only based on the keyword that we have supplied at the time of uploading process. There is inbuilt feature in almost all kinds of digital library system that try to extract the relevant keyword from the title of the document and include it into the indexing file. So digital libraries also relied on these kinds of title based indexing system. When we talk about the databases also use the same kinds of process, that is extracting relevant keyword from the titles of the document and including into the indexing file. What is the reason? Titles are easily available and they are machine readable. Because when you are doing the data entry into the integrated library management system using a cataloging module, then what you do? You try to enter the title of the document. So even it is not readily available in machine readable form, but at least if you are manually doing the data entry, you will try to put the title into the title column or title box. Then the system will easily extract the relevant keyword from the title. So this is the reason that this is easily possible system of indexing. Now, what are the important thing that is the advantages of title-based indexing? It is simple and fast. No need for deep content analysis because the terms which are available in the title can be extracted and non-significant terms can be removed from the indexing words or indexing file. They are suitable for automatic indexing purpose because no human intellectual or human involvement is there, and it reflects author's intent. It is the natural terms which are used by the authors in the titles are extracted from the titles by the computer, by the automated system, and ultimately no controlled terms are used for indexing purposes. There are certain limitations that not always reliable. As we have already discussed, if the title is not indicative or informative, then the keywords will not reflect or represent the actual subject of the document. Sometimes it may miss important concept not in the title because we use a few words to define the all content which are included in the document. So sometimes the important concept which are included in the document cannot be defined by using the few words in the title. So in such kinds of cases, some important concepts which are included in the document may not be included in the indexing process. And sometimes there may be ambiguity and synonyms problem because of uncontrolled vocabulary system. And there is limited representation of full document content because we are totally relied on the title word or words of the title, then complete representation is not possible. For example, there is a title, suppose you can win. Only 3 words are used in this particular title, and by just understanding and reading these 3 words, you can win, this is the title of the book, we are not able to identify what is the subject of the book and what is discussed in the book. So we are not able to represent the full content which are discussed in the document just taking the words from the title only. So these are the major limitations of the title-based indexing systems. So now we try to conclude this derived indexing system which uses term directly from the document, making it simple, cost-effective, and fast, and suitable for the automated system because we can reduce the human efforts in the process of indexing. When we talk about particularly about the title-based indexing system, it is a specific form of derived indexing that relies on the keywords that are to be collected and extracted from the titles only. It is very easy because obviously we can automatically extract some of the important words from the title of the document. It is widely used in databases, digital libraries, and even in search engines. But it it should be combined with some more aspects, that is abstract analysis and full text indexing. And today in the digital environment where most of the documents are in digital format, it is also easy that we should not rely on completely on the title. We can also try to analyze the words or the keywords which are appeared in the abstract as well as in full text, so that we can cover a comprehensive aspects, or we can represent the different aspects which are discussed in the document. So for better retrieval performance, what we need to do in, we need to extract the keywords not only from the titles but from other parts of the document, so that actual representation is possible. So title-based indexing are efficient for large-scale system, but are most effective when combined with controlled indexing method for improved retrieval accuracy. So what we can do, we can use to add two more things to this kinds of indexing. The one is that we should rely on the complete document, not only collect the word from the title only, but we need to extract word from other parts of the document. This is one thing. Another thing is that the terms which are selected, these should be standardized using controlled vocabulary. Then the performance of retrieval can be improved by doing this kinds of derived indexing system, by adopting this derived indexing in the information retrieval systems. So with this, this is the list of important sources which can be consulted for more detailed study, and you will find the relevant information or detailed information about this particular topic in the book Subject Approach to Information, written by A.C. Foskett. This a complete chapter is given in this book on derived indexing systems like catchword indexing, title-based indexing, keyword indexing, and keyword in context and keyword out of context. Another important book in this context is the Introduction to Modern Information Retrieval by G.G. Chaudhary, where also you will find the concept of this derived indexing. So with this, thank you very much.